Welcome to Beat Diabetes, and we're going to take another break from our Books and Quotes series because Christmas is almost at hand. When this video gets first posted, it will be on Sunday. Christmas is on a Monday, so let me start out by saying Merry Christmas to you all, and hope you're doing well, hope your blood sugar is doing well. And by way of Christmas, I have here a gift. And I'm eager to see who gave this gift to me. Kind of a fancy package there. So let's just open it up and see what's in this gift. Well, first, let me just see. It tells right here who gave it. It says, to Dennis, from Dennis. Whoa! I must have given myself this gift and didn't even realize it. Even though the wrapping kind of reminds me of my wife's wrapping, but let's not talk about that. To Dennis, from Dennis, a gift from me to me, from moi to moi. So let's see what's in this gift. And it's kind of a shame to open packages that have been carefully wrapped, and you do it in a couple of seconds, and that's the end of that. But that's how Christmas gifts are. So, bam, enough of that. What is it's in the box? It feels very light. I don't think this is anything too heavy. In fact, there's just a little card in here. What does this card say? It says 12 plus years of good health. What an amazing gift if this were true, and I believe it can be true in many of your lives. 12 plus years, well, that is certainly worth more than a necktie. More than a new car stereo, more than any gift you can really think of. Just imagine if you could somehow tack onto your life 12 or more years of good health and longevity by making certain changes in the way you live and eat. And of course, that's at the heart of our Beat Diabetes YouTube channel and the different challenges we do, all the videos I post. I think we're over 600 now. And the idea is you can give yourself a gift. And sometimes when I do these Christmas challenges, I say give yourself a fantastic Christmas gift and bring your blood sugar down and your corresponding high insulin levels down to the normal range by Christmas. Usually we start in September. Normally I feel more comfortably with a 6-month challenge, but it usually works out we end up doing a 4-month. But what a gift that would be if it could be possible, and I believe it can be. Think about that. How much would just 1 year of good health and extra life be worth to you? Would it be worth $100? Would it be worth $1,000? There's no place on Amazon you can buy extra life, extra years to your life. There's no place on Amazon that you can buy extra years of good health. And we want both. We want extra years to our life so we can serve God well and live longer and bless more people. But we also want extra health, extra years of good health. Some people manage to make it as a diabetic into their 80s, sometimes even 90s, but often the last 15 years of their lives are miserable years. They're going in and out of the hospital. They're having various bypass operations. They're getting toe amputations, foot amputations. Sometimes their kidneys fail altogether and they have to go to dialysis. If you could buy an extra year of health and freedom from all of that, that would be fantastic. But what if you could buy over 10 years, 12, 15 years of extra years of good health? How much would that be worth? And the answer is you can't put a price on it. More important question is, how much would you be willing to pay? So my encouragement to you this Christmas is give yourself the gift of additional years of health. No, of course, there's no guarantees, and our bodies are complicated. Life is complicated. There are no guarantees, but you make it much more likely that you can live to an older age in better health than you could have had you continued to eat junk and sugar and lots of carbs. But I want to give you one other thing to think about this Christmas. You're not only giving yourself extra years of good health and a great present when you lower the carbs and practice time-restricted eating and do away with sugar, you're not only giving yourself a gift, you're giving a gift to the people that care about you. It's going to be a whole lot easier for them to live with you as an old man, an old woman who's still healthy, still functional, still drives a car, still can see good enough to get their driver's license renewed, and is not in and out of the hospital constantly. You're giving a gift not only to yourself, but to your loved ones. And the more your body falls apart, the more decrepit you become through diabetes and high glucose and high insulin levels, the more painful it becomes on those that care about you. You're going to put them through a lot of anguish. You think you're in anguish. Yeah, you are, but your loved ones are as well. And it's just difficult for them to try to support someone whose body is totally deteriorating. My mom lived to be 80, which is a pretty good age for a diabetic, but those last 15 years were not easy. And here's something I haven't really shared. When Mom lost her legs and became so severely handicapped, she became very insecure. And she depended more and more upon my dad, not only to wheel her around in her wheelchair, but just to be there for her. She was not naturally an insecure person. She was a bold lady with a strong will and a good sense of humor. You would never have spoken of her as being insecure in her earlier years, even her middle years. But when she lost her legs and went through so many procedures and hospital visits as a result of her diabetes, it took a toll on her. But you know what? It took a toll on my dad as well. He had to be her caregiver. Dad was 9 years older than Mom was, yet he was the one wheeling her around in her wheelchair because of diabetes. But not only that, Mom became so insecure as a result of all of that, she didn't like Dad to be away from her ever. I mean, not even to go out into the backyard and work in the garden. Dad always loved to garden, and he had a little garden, not a big one, but a small garden in the backyard. And he just loved to get out. Dad was never happy just sitting around. He was a very kind of an antsy type of guy, and he loved to work in his garden during gardening season. But she hardly could tolerate Dad to even go out into the backyard and putter around or work in the garden because she just felt such a dependence on him. And it was hard on Dad. He did not complain. Dad was a good guy, and he didn't complain. He didn't gripe at her. He basically gave her what she needed, which was his attention almost full time. And just one time do I remember Dad talking to me about the whole business of Mom being so dependent on him. And it was the one time I heard him, I don't really want to say complain, because he wasn't whining, he wasn't upset, he was just telling me his heart. It was like one time he opened up his heart. Dad wasn't very open. He was the old school, you didn't talk about your feelings too much. He was a World War II vet. And those kind of guys did not talk about their feelings much. But once he opened up his heart and he said, "Dennis, this is hard. This is hard." I knew what he was talking about. He wasn't so much talking about having to help Mom into the car and out of the car and wheel her around. I don't think that was the hard part. I think the hard part was just being at her beck and call constantly, hardly free to even go outside, or she didn't want him to go to the store if he could help it. And my sister lived with him, so she did some of the shopping. And if he did go out, she would want him to get back as soon as possible. And in that short sentence, he didn't go at length about it. He didn't go into detail, but I knew what he was talking about. He just said, "Dennis, this is hard." And it was. And it's kind of ironic that Mom was 9 years younger than Dad, and yet he was the one taking care of her. She had diabetes. He didn't even come close to diabetes. She had the extremely high blood pressure. He did not. So do yourself a favor. Now, I don't blame Mom. She didn't know any better, and the doctors couldn't tell her any better. All they could do was simply say, well, you don't want to eat too much fat, and you want to kind of limit your sugar. And both of those things are lousy advice. You don't limit sugar, you eliminate it, and you don't cut down on fat, you eat more fat so you can eat less carbs. So do not only yourself a favor, do your loved ones a favor, the people that care about you, that are concerned about you. And then there's the emotional anguish of seeing someone you care about that used to be just energetic and running around and confident in life. And now they're withdrawing and they become weaker emotionally, weaker physically, needing help to do almost everything. You're not only hurting yourself, you're hurting the people you care about. You know, when I thought about the theme of this little video, which is, give yourself a gift, give your loved ones a gift, I could almost be tempted to say, give yourself the greatest gift. But of course, giving yourself an extra 10, 12, 15 years of healthy life is a wonderful gift, but it's not the greatest gift. What is the greatest gift? Well, it's found in the Bible, which tells us the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Probably most of you know my wife Benedicta, but few of you know the amazing paths God has led her to bring her to where she is today. Benedicta was orphaned at an early age and lived with an elderly stepmother growing to adolescence. They were so poor, Benedicta had to drop out of school and sell food door to door for them to survive. As a teen, Benedicta got a job as a housemaid, which developed into a nightmare. She was required to cook, clean, wash, take care of the children, and she had to get up at 4 a.m. every day just to get her work started. Worse than that, she was frequently beaten. At around 20, she moved to the huge city of Lagos, where she started her own little business. Sometimes she prospered, but at other times she nearly starved and went days at a time without eating. At one point, she became so sick she passed out in her room and nearly died. She found herself outside of her body, and she was able to see the splendors of heaven until she was sent back with a command to share her story. One day, however, her life changed when an American evangelist came to her community to preach. And of course, that was me. The rest, as they say, is history. Benedicta has shared her life story in a recently published autobiography, and you can get it on Amazon as either an ebook or a paperback. A link to this book on Amazon is in the description.